Well, what's going on, everybody? Another Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific, and here we are for another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. I am Dave Fennoy, I promise. And just a reminder that all of the Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you are interested in coaching with me, davefennoy.com, click on the little Study VO tab at the top, and you can book yourself. And also another reminder, coming up, end of April, 27th through 30th, Game VO Mexico. And you can go to gamevomexico.com and book yourself there. It's going to be 3 days of intensive video game acting training. We're going to break it down and start with principles of acting and end with simulated sessions. Myself, Randall Ryan, Gillian Bashir, and Aaron Fitzgerald, and Mark Esdale. 3 directors, 2 voice actors, and a lot of fun. And I promise you, you will be an actor that can book parts in video games after you do this. Anyway, well, without further ado, let's say hello to our guest. And let's see. Well, where is he? He's here someplace. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Jordan Reynolds, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo, what's up?
You got fans.
You got a clap track and everything. Wow.
It's not a clap track. That's the audience. You just can't see it.
Yes. Yeah, they're off camera. They give me all the space. Thank you. Real people.
And we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but I don't know if you can see, if I move, you can see the cement floor there and rug cut up.
Oh, no.
All the rain, and then there was a little leak in some of my plumbing, and my studio it had water all in it. So sometime over the next few weeks, I've got to move everything out, get all the leaks fixed, and then move everything back in. But it'll give me a chance to paint and do some other things that I want to do. But man, what a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
There's a spot over here. If I stomp on the rug, water will splash.
Damn.
Yeah.
And there's a sliver of carpet over here that got wet because the rain, not because most flooding is like it lifts up and then it gravity, right?
Yeah.
But this was from the blowing rain, it hit the glass, and then it ran down the glass door and then just seeped in, and then all the carpet for like 3 or 4 feet out under the studio bricks is wet. I can't, so I've been blowing a fan.
Is your studio brick sitting up on something? So
it's got little rubber feet on it. So yes, there's a slight air gap, but underneath there, actually, before we put the floor down, the studio bricks floor down, I put like plastic trash bags, and then I put insulation down because I want to block more sound from getting in. Yeah. So there's technically some plastic there that's probably trapping a lot of moisture, but yeah. And I couldn't run the fan for days because I had no electricity. So the wet carpet sat there, not drying, but freezing for, 3 days.
And yet we make it happen. Now, what did you do without a studio for a few days?
Well, luckily it happened Friday night. So we're literally like, it's the end of the night. We're chilling on the couch. It's been a long week. And right around 10 o'clock, we saw like a flash out the window, because like out in the yard, not like our yard, but like out in the neighborhood somewhere. Like, was that lightning? Was it like, still don't know what it was. And then the power went out. We're like, oh, wow. Okay. And the storm wasn't that bad. Like, there was more rain from like a storm in December, and then like the December in 2021, there was way more rain happening in those storms.
I don't know. We've had a lot of it here. It was probably
compared
that went out.
Yeah, I know. I think it was that. So, but yeah, so we're like, okay, to come back on. So day one was like, ooh, it's getting cold. We got to use our fireplace, which doesn't do a whole lot in terms of heating the house, right? No. So we're like, it's like it brought
central heating was an advancement for men.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're like, ooh, day one, we're like, it's like camping in our house. How fun. Day two, we're like, okay, this is it's getting kind of cold. Why isn't the power on yet? This is kind of weird. And then day 3, Mara was literally trying to like heat up the pot of water. Luckily we had gas range so we could cook. Yeah. And so she was heating a pot of water to do like French press coffee because that's the only way we could make it without our machines. And so she's like literally has like her robe on and layers and her beanie. And I see her like lighting the gas range and she's like, because it was like 54 or no, upstairs was 55. So downstairs is probably 50 degrees in the house.
Global warming, baby.
Yeah.
Which means climate change. And
yeah, it really made us grateful.
Drier, colder, hotter, more severe.
Everything. Boing, 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 boing.
Let's get to voiceover.
I know.
Instead of all our tragedies that are going on
I know.
In our lives, and despite the tragedies, life is still pretty good, you know?
Absolutely. No, we were pretty chill through the whole thing. It was just by the end, we're just like, okay, it's getting really cold. Yeah. And all our batteries were dying. So we had to like, I drove her to a studio in Burbank and they let me hang out in the control room. And I had a power strip and I plugged in all the battery banks and everything and charged them all up during her session because we had no power.
Well, thank goodness they let you stay, because a lot of times, especially if it's a game, I'm sorry, you can't be anywhere near this building. There are NDAs that are signed, and we just don't trust you.
Nope. No, but I'm like, but I've recorded here. I'm a voice. I get it. No, but I called ahead. I was very professional and polite, and they're like, so I think because I did that, they were very, and no director was actually in the room. It was all on Zoom. Well, just the engineer.
There you go.
It all worked out.
Oh, that's Mara over in the booth over there.
She's in the booth right now working.
Okay, and
because we're sharing my studio while hers is being built.
Oh, and she's waving. Hey, move out of the way so we can see her. There she is. and when we talked earlier, move back into the camera. There you go. When we talked earlier, you offered her up to be interviewed sometime soon, and then maybe the two of you together, which I think would be a lot of fun. So we will.
If people aren't sick of us at that point, let's do it.
No, I'm not sick of you guys. Love you guys. Anyway, let's talk voiceover and Jordan Reynolds voiceover career. Reading your bio, which you didn't start. I started off as a child. You said you were in Colorado doing commercials and narration. And how'd you get started doing that? What were you doing before voiceover?
Really, all I was doing was just trying to survive, doing corporate jobs, you know. So like most of us do. But to make it really simple, I was working in IT. So I was a computer nerd growing up. I built PCs for fun, and then I eventually got some like entry-level jobs doing it. I worked at Best Buy before it was called Geek Squad. It was actually called the Best Buy Tech Bench. So and I still had to wear an ugly ass black polo shirt, but there was no Geek Squad like fake ties and all that BS. So I was there for like a short season helping people, you know, fix their stuff. And the sales part I wasn't so good at. They're like, you need to upsell them on the warranty, Jordan. You know, and this one time that I didn't, like, I actually upsold them, but I forgot to put it in the system. So the customer left with their new PC, and they didn't pay for it. But they said, yes, I'll take it. But I forgot to ring it out. And I was an honest employee. I'm like, hey, manager, I forgot. What can we do? Do we have their phone? And like, he lectured me for an hour on like the principles of Best Buy and like how the customer must like he's took me in a back room. Like, it was just like, dude.
Did you think
I'm sorry?
You might have been beaten back then?
Damn near, dude. I thought he was going to whip out an old video card and just, what did you do? So yeah, I don't miss the corporate stuff. So I eventually made my way up into more corporate, like in an office setting IT jobs. So a lot of tech support.
Did you ever become his boss?
No, they fired me because I was seasonal. And I was like, but I know more than all the older senior staff here. But okay, bye. I was pretty sad though. I really liked the job overall, except the manager.
And what got you interested in voiceover?
Yeah. So during those customer service jobs, specifically in call centers, so I was on the phone a lot. It was just people here and there saying like, hey, you have a really nice voice. You should do radio. And it was always, you know, I've told the story a million times, so if you've heard it already, sorry folks, but it was in particular elderly women calling into Dish Network tech support. I worked there like till 2:30 a.m. That was my shift. And they would just be like, oh, anything else I can help you with today, ma'am? And they're like, oh, no, thank you for fixing my Golden Girls. I love that show. You have such a nice voice. You should get into radio. I'm like, okay, maybe I should. I mean, thanks, ma'am. So I always kept it in my mind, and then eventually started taking classes in 2008.
How long did it take before the first time you heard about voiceover till you took some classes?
Oh, God. Probably 7 years. I heard it I started hearing it like in the early 2000s when I was just trying to survive, on my own and getting out of high school. And then it would just come up here and there. I was good at impressions in high school as a kid, but I wasn't popular at all. I was actually laughed at a lot. I was both laugh like, cause, oh, you're funny. And then laugh like, oh my God, look at Jordan. He's sleeping on his test again because he stayed up all night playing video games. Loser, that's how it felt.
Well, it's interesting. The geeks ultimately won. I was both geek and jock and theater guy. I played football and president of the theater society, and so I was a little hybridy.
Dude, you played that game.
But I also went to private school, so it was a little different there. But in public school, geeks caught hell. But years later, when the football stars were fat and slow, the geeks read healthy stuff, ate healthy, well, some of them, and were able to actually do something. So congratulations on being a geek.
Did something. I know. And now it's cool to be a geek. So it all worked out. But honestly, I'm like, I don't know anyone who's like, I did everything so I wouldn't get bullied in anything.
Well, what you did. My idea was I wasn't thinking about getting bullied or not bullied.
Sure.
I know. I was doing things that I like to do. So let's get more into the weeds here. So you start doing voiceover 7 years later.
Pretty much.
And what was the first thing you did? Did you take classes? Did you go out and buy the wrong microphone?
It was no, actually no. My first mic is right here. Actually, still, I'm using it because I'm using it just to like get levels and stuff. I'm making a UAD Apollo course, so I'm just like I just needed a quick mic to do random crap with. But AT2020.
Oh,
it's still a really solid mic for the money.
Mic. It's a great mic.
It's just a little loud on the noise floor. That's my only complaint. You can actually spend the same money on other like an MXL mic, like the 990, and it sounds just as good and it has a quieter noise floor.
Yeah.
But I like the tone overall more of the AT2020.
Wait a minute. So as long as we're getting geeky, what do you think about the MXL V67?
Oh God,
That's the green one that's $65. Maybe it's $75.
I have one. I haven't heard one in a long time, so my ears have changed a lot. But I have one in my mic locker that I had a friend in Colorado who knows how to do like people are like, oh, you know how to solder and shit? No, I'm not that kind of nerd. Like I'll blow it up. So my friend taught me how to solder a mod. So I bought a little mod kit to upgrade that V67 to make it more vintagey sounding. So I know how it sounds after the mod. It sounds great.
Yeah, I used to carry one around as my travel mic. And basically because it didn't hear as well as the Neumanns, so if there's a little noise in the hotel room there. But anyway, so
yes.
You're working in Colorado doing commercials. Was this with an agent or were you getting your own jobs?
No, it was I bought the books like James Alberger's The Art of Voice Acting.
Mm-hmm.
I read that, and then Harlan Hogan.
I want to tell you something. That book was stolen.
From what?
I'll share the story another time. But
wait,
the book was basically copied from Elaine Clark.
Oh.
Who wrote a book like
awkward
5 years or so before, and then let's just rewrite this and rephrase some things.
I know. I'm very aware of Elaine's book, but I actually haven't read it. So, okay. Interesting.
You can hold them page by page, and you go, oh, okay.
I feel like the Kermit meme where I'm just like, oh. Wow. Dropping the facts.
So
that blows my mind. So I read this stolen piece of literature, which inspired me, and then I also read the Harlan Hogan. I can't remember, but I think it was like home studio voice actor, like how to make your own home studio. And then I looked up a local. I lived in Denver, and I found at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, I believe they have the largest physical performing arts complex in the nation. At
Mm.
least when I lived there, 7 years ago, it was the most amount of theater, maybe square footage. I'm not sure what it was, but it's a huge performing arts complex. Opera, you name it. So they had little voiceover classes in this one little room, and I signed up, and Hillary Blair was my first ever coach, and I fell in love with it. But it was kind of like, it was just a slow burn, it's like a 6-week course, and then you do a little bit with it, but there was no like demos at the end.
So what you're saying is this wasn't a get rich quick scheme.
No, thank God. No, because I did enough research. I studied everything. Like MySpace was still kind of a thing. So I was like connecting with all the MySpace voice actors and just kind of like sucking up their inspiration, in a healthy way and not in a creepy stalker way. Yeah.
Oh, you invoked MySpace. Haven't heard MySpace mentioned
I miss it
in a long time.
I miss it. Tom looked a lot more trustworthy than Zuckerberg. That's just me.
Well, yeah. But where is Tom now?
I don't know. I don't think I could pull it up fast, but I posted a photo of myself young at a LAN party, which is where you connect all your computers and play games together. And I didn't even notice it. And everyone's like, "Are you Tom from MySpace?" And I'm like, "What?" And I look at it, I'm like, "Oh, nice." Because I'm literally like this. I'm like, and I have a white shirt on, but I'm not smiling. I'm a miserable looking teenager. Tom is like, I'm an adult and I've got shit together.
Okay.
I was a teen then, so I was just kind of like, but the angle and the shirt, everyone's like, "You look like Tom."
Okay, okay. I had a really bad joke there, but I'm gonna ignore it. Some people are asking questions already.
I guess we should.
And this is for both of us, but I'm gonna let you go first. What are the cons of voicing video game characters? I came into an opportunity with Epic and Ubisoft, so I changed my focus to video games, but I don't want to be blindsided by anything I might not be aware about that particular genre.
What is the so the beginning of the question was,
what's the downside of being an actor in video games? I think that's the question.
And I heard the rest. I'm just trying to know what specifically, because that's kind of a broad question, but I don't know if this is answering what they're talking about in terms of like conflicts or something. But just in general downsides working in video games, the biggest downside is most games you're going to be yelling, not the whole time, but usually, Dave has done more games than any of us combined here. So usually at the end on many characters, in my experience, they're like, "All right, time for the efforts. You're getting your knee sliced off." So you got to work on your technique, and then you're getting your pinky sliced off. And, most directors have gotten really good over the past few years of not abusing it and giving you a lot of breaks, but you get to dictate that session in most situations, unless they're just outright hammering it. So that's the biggest complaint of video game voice acting, is that I don't have the sustainability of like, Freddie Tatasciore can just.
I think his pipes are made of steel.
Yeah, I believe so. Like he can do anything. Apparently, I know. I think he had one health scare with the throat, but in general, there's a lot of people who can just like do it and they're fine. I believe I don't have that level of stamina. I know a lot of it's technique, which I've done a lot of practice. So that's what I don't like about it. And I schedule them very carefully. And when I book them, I always ask my agent, or if it's a direct booking, I'm like, "Hey, are there efforts, or how much volume and vocal intensity is there going to be?" Key ones to look out for is our fighting games. I know this might not be obvious, but like it seems obvious. Fighting games, if that's clear in your audition, know what you're getting into. Military, dead giveaway. Anything that's a shooter, really. If it's like a sniper looking up on the hill, blah, blah, blah. Most of those are going to have a good amount of yelling. Some are only radio, so you aren't yelling. But yeah, so that's honestly my biggest complaint. And then in terms of time, if you work in a lot of genres, so for example, Mara and we work in promo, right? Not a lot, but just we got some regular promo clients, and then commercial and stuff like that. I do sound-alike work, and those turnaround times on the auditions, if it's for a trailer, it's like 45 minutes sometimes. So if I'm in a 4-hour game session, which is usually how long games are, or when they book it out, I can't do anything else. Like I can't. Like sometimes I've snuck in, actually, we're taking a 10-minute game break, and if I'm at home, I can like mute my system, and I literally change my mic model, and I go cut like an ASAP promo thing that came in, and then back to and they don't even know I did it. I did it during the break. right?
Been
They have
there,
no idea.
done that.
I'm sure, right? So that's something you have to be. Those are kind of the biggest downsides in general. There is more exposure that comes with it, so you have to be a bit more aware of how you behave online.
Yeah.
You know,
Couple of things. You've covered most of the things that I would say are the
yeah. What do you?
downside, but I'll give you an upside. We're not getting exactly what we should be getting yet, but at least they're in the game of union, and pay is better than it once was. And if it's a union game, there are bonus payments. If the game sells X number of units, you get more money. And hopefully at some point, it'll be kind of like sitcoms that you're being paid a lot more money based on the sales of the game. Got a question here from Jim Frank. Question: my secondary mic is default every time power up. Is default every time I power up my Apollo. How do I switch it to the other mic, which is channel 1? You really got into the weeds there, Jim.
I just had a session with him, so I'm just trying to remember how I set it up. Where are the? Sorry, I'm trying to. Can I read the question in the chat? Where is it?
Can you see? My secondary mic is default every time.
Oh,
you left out.
Like
power up my Apollo. How do I switch it to the other mic, which is channel 1?
I'm guessing that it loads up when he switches his session file that just email me, Jim, and I'll record a a screen capture. But essentially what you're going to do, I'm guessing that channel 1 is muted and channel 2 is unmuted, and you want it the other way around. You just need to unlock that session file in your documents, make the change, overwrite it, and then lock it. So I can send you a video on how to do that, Jim. But send me an email, Jim, so I can clarify, be specific. So yeah, that's gonna be.
By the way, those of you who don't know, not only is Jordan Reynolds a wonderful voiceover actor, but he is the studio ninja, the audio ninja, and has a course on how to set up your studio, how to record, how to create your sound. And we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. I don't want to get to that just yet. Let's talk microphones. You are a fan of the Townsend Sphere.
Yep. Now rebranded
it's your go-to mic. I bought one and decided, this is too complicated. I don't need this many mics in one mic, especially since I have as many mics in my mic locker. And I tend to end up using my 416 95% of the time. Although I have a 103 hanging in my booth. What do you like about the Sphere, and what other microphones and interfaces would you recommend? Somebody put a note here. I saw it just a little bit ago. It was one of the Apollo products. Oh.
Yeah, UAD bought Townsend Labs and re-released the mic with a new model. So it is now called, the mic that he's talking about used to be called the Townsend Labs L22 Sphere microphone. I love them, but that name was very long. It was really long. So UAD bought them about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then the L22 mic, the original, has been available, might even still be available. And then they just re-released the mic under the UAD logo. It's the UAD DLX. They also have the LX, which is $1,000. The DLX is $1,500. So the DLX is the true match to the old L22 mic. And I confirmed that the hardware, everything is identical. The only difference is they just ripped off that Townsend
We'll
Labs
just slap a different
badge
name on this microphone.
It's literally that. They updated the plugin and added the TLM 103 model, because I like to think it's because I nagged him enough. But I know it's a lot of people who nagged him. But I literally talked to Chris Townsend himself. I'm like, what would make this perfect?
And so perfect because the 103 is one of the workhorses of this business.
Yep.
It's the other mic that I leave hanging in my studio.
Yeah, it's a great mic.
So it's 416 most of the time, and then sometimes the 103.
Yep. Yeah. So, I highly recommend. The reason why it's all Mara and I use. I have a real 416 here at my desk because it's just more convenient to have just one simple mic, and I'm doing more and more auditions out here that are like commercials and even sound alike work. If I'm just in a hurry, it's easier for me to just chill here and record. I've just been
Because even
experimenting.
though this is not your studio room, it's a room that I can
It's
see.
treated.
It's
Yeah.
treated. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by acoustic panels, so it sounds very good in here for voiceover work. The only risk is if there's a really loud noise outside, it'll get through. And if it's really, really loud, it'll get into the studio bricks. But for sessions, I'm never doing it here. But anyways, the L22, why do we use it? It's just, you can just switch between mics so quickly without having to have multiple mics up in the room. So before, I saw in your studio photos that you sent over, because we're working together soon, the Radial Gold Digger. It's one physical box, and you can plug in 4 microphones into it. And out of the back of it is one cable that goes into your preamp. It could go
Yeah.
into your Focusrite, whatever. And what's great is technically you do just hit one button, and now you're on a different mic. But you do have to have that other physical mic in your space, and you either like have it on a T-bar with 2 mics, or you have 2 arms. And it's not a big deal for most people, but when you're just hauling ass, like, and getting high volumes of auditions, like Mara and I are privileged to get, I don't want a bunch of mics, physical mics. I want just that one sound that I've dialed in. And on the L22s, you can configure all the pickup patterns. So you can take a U87 and make it hypercardioid, make it more like, in a way, a shotgun mic where it's more focused and not picking up the boxiness of your room. You can't do that with a real $3,000 U87. It's just cardioid. It has
Yeah.
Omni and other shit that's not good for VO. But, so there's all these advantages that are within the software itself. It's well worth the
How
money.
often are you changing the mics within your?
Me? Okay, because I do it for everyone else all the time. I'm not tweaking. Everyone thinks like, oh man, you probably got all these like crazy presets. I've got a commercial preset. I have a promo preset. I have a specific promo preset for a specific client. And then I have a character preset.
Yeah,
So,
and
and you know what they are?
we're gonna do some work on
Oh,
that
okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, kind of co-signing you, because I know this is something you do for a lot of different people. You have helped me at times with equipment. I know when once I got my UA Apollo Quad, we you made some suggestions on some equipment, and gave me the schematics of how to put it all together. And
Oh yeah, I did a drawing for you. I forgot. I
and it
can't
works.
remember what I've done like a month ago.
I was able to follow your schematics, and this goes into there, and this goes into there, and I turned that
Great.
knob, and my goodness, it works.
Yay.
And I mean, you're just. I mean, you're not the only guy that does this. I mean, George Whittam's been around a long time. Tim Tippett's is great as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you are
Love them.
definitely a resource that people need to use or be aware of, because so many people are getting into voiceover now. And if you're going to do voiceover, you need a home studio. And just like you don't want to have to build a car to have a car, sometimes you want to bring in the mechanic to help you put that car together or keep that car running well. And you're one of those guys. So double threat, you know.
Yeah, I dip my finger in too many things.
Uh,
That sounds.
Wait a minute.
That
That
sounds
sounded
bad. Yeah,
just
let's now.
terrible.
Family show. All right.
Family show.
I'm
There
sorry,
you go.
Dave. I'm sorry,
Terry
folks.
Briscoe has a question. Jordan, what is your take on the Apollo Heritage Solo? I am looking to upgrade my Scarlett Solo. Is there a reason to choose the Apollo Twin instead, or is that overkill?
Okay, I think she started saying like upgrade from my Solo to a Heritage Solo, and then she ended with a Twin. So I think what she means is, should I upgrade my Solo to a Twin? We'll go with that.
Yeah. What is the Apollo Heritage?
It is.
Is that like the first version of the Apollo Twin?
No.
No, it's a Solo.
It's a marketing term. Okay, all it is it if you I believe every Apollo that you buy, Solo, Twin, Quad, X8, blah 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 blah, they pretty much, I believe, are all the Heritage Edition of that model. All that means is the Heritage Edition comes with a specific bundle of plugins for free when you buy that Apollo. So, but I don't even think you can buy an Apollo that's a non-Heritage Edition right now. Yeah. They're going to change the name probably in a year or two when they come out with a new Apollo, and the bundle that it will come with, or the how they'll brand it, it'll be the, the Apollo Twin, whatever, Waterfall Edition. And the Waterfall bundle comes with, it's just the plugins that come with it. That's all it is. And the plugins that come with it are great. And I teach that in my course. That'll be coming out this next month. So okay, I teach you how to make everything sound good for free.
We're going to get to that. But now it seems to me, I've been in this business for long years, and it seems to me that UA products have taken over the market. The Apollo Twin seems to be the go-to interface these days. Would you agree? And why do you think that is? I mean, people will start off with the Scarlett Solo, but once they upgrade, it's Apollo, 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 Apollo.
Yeah, it's kind of, I would say it's the most coveted audio interface, and I've set up dozens and dozens of voice actors who have it with custom presets, and that's just people I know. So I would say that it is a go-to, but I would love to see what the market share is of like active working full-time voice actors. I wouldn't say the Apollo is the dominant interface in that pie. There are a lot of people who are still working on the Scarlett 2i2 because they're like, it sounds good. My workflow is simple. I don't want to deal with plugins and software. I get that. I respect that. So there's a lot of people like that. And then there's a lot of people that have a mid-range, like an, whatever you want to call it, like mid to high range. So an Audient ID22, right? It's a big old interface and it sounds amazing. Not as many bells and whistles as an Apollo, but if they don't have the desire to run like live noise removal and de-essing and compression and EQ, then there's really no reason to get the Apollo. It's not like there's this huge sound change when you go between a Scarlett 2i2 that's $200 to the most affordable Apollo, which is $600, being the Solo. You're not just going to hear it raw, apples to apples, like, whoa, the Solo's like this huge upgrade.
It's amazing.
No,
my life has changed because of
exactly. It will be changed if you use plugins, right? Yeah. Like if you need them. Not everyone needs them, so it's a really case by case basis. And I'm sorry, just to answer Terry's question, I don't mean to interrupt. I believe she said, should I ever upgrade to the Twin? Very short answer. If you're ever loading up plugins and you're getting pop-ups saying, too much DSP, we can't load this, then yes. So if you ever plan on using 2 microphones and you want to have presets running on both of those, the Solo might shit itself. All right. Then yes, consider getting the Twin. There you go. I just want to I want to go back to that question that was still in my mind.
Okay. And I had a question and now it has completely left my mind. I have to admit, I think I mentioned this to the other day. I have been recommending you to do demos, especially video game demos and whatnot, because I heard some of the demos you used to do, and I said, "Oh, it's really good," and I do them, but I'm not really in the business of doing them, if you know what I mean. I've got a lot going on. Yeah. And you just told me the other day that you're not doing demos anymore, at least not for a while.
No, I stopped, and long story short, I love doing demos. It's a labor of love. It's like I've talked to a lot of other demo producers and I find out how much time, this is no disrespect to them, but how much time they put into it. Right. And sometimes some of them have a team, like someone has an engineer so I'm very proud of the demos I do. I'm very in the results that talent have gotten with them, signing with big agencies. I'm not saying it was all me, but I love to play a small part in that. But it is very soul consuming because I put everything into it. It's a very personal project. It represents someone like as their brand, right? It's so they would take me a lot of time. And while I enjoyed doing it in 2021, I'm like, I really want to make this course to help people with their home studio because there's a lot of bad home studios out there. I can't do demos and make a course and be a full-time voice actor. So I had to make the choice.
Had to let some
Meryl would like to see me sometime. So I'm gonna stop doing demos. So it's not like it's a forever, I'll never do it again. I
Yeah.
have a mailing list, so if you go to my demo site, it's still there. I pay for it yearly, but sign up, and if someday I'm just jonesing for a demo, I will send everyone an email on that list that I
Okay.
have an opening.
Well, let's talk about your audio ninja course. How did you conceive that, and what do you really teach in that? And I mean, I've taken the course, so I kind of know, but you tell me.
Sure. I mean, it's a lot. I'm kind of an all or nothing guy. I can't. It's a problem. It's to my own detriment and to everyone's benefit that I cannot. I cannot. It's very difficult for me. Like, I'm just gonna do a course about microphones. I'm like, no, people need more help than that. So it really just came from COVID and everyone freaking out. How do I? One, I don't have a home studio. Where do I start? Two, I've had a home studio, but I just used it for auditions. Or three, I have a home studio and now I have to use it more than I'd like. And they're disqualifying me because I have too much noise. Like, there's this huge range, right? You have everything from like no one ever having it, but these are active voice actors, right? So it's not like
Yes.
these are newbies. So I wanted to cater to people who already got something set up or are working as a voice actor, and to make it not so damn scary. And I was actually shocked because I was under the impression that most voice actors, most, uh, don't want to touch anything. Like they're keep it away from me. I don't want to open any effects. I never want to touch an EQ. It terrifies me. And then I polled the audience. I put out, that's what you should always do if you're going to make a product, find out if there's a demand. So I emailed my small newsletter list and I put on social media surveys. And the surveys, a lot of people were like, I would love to learn it. I want to know how to do EQ. I want to know how to use a de-esser. I want to know what is a noise floor. I don't want to have to hire or rely on someone. They're like, you're lovely, Jordan. Love you, but I would like to do it on my own. And that's the whole point, is I'm trying to get away from always being able to like have to help one by one. I would love to help on more of a mass level.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. And it took me over 500 hours to make it. I clocked it and then cried when I got to the point. I'm like, wow, I'm at 500. I hope it sells. But I launched it. The first half of it was in March in 2021, and it had a very good launch. And then I finished the rest of it in the middle of a move from Burbank to Woodland Hills. But I finished it once I moved here, and in like September of 2021.
I'll tell you, one of the things I like about it is you make it fun and easy. You're enjoying yourself. You're not making it too serious, although you're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
If
Thank
that
you.
makes sense.
Yeah. See, that's what I should have said when you asked me, but I had a whole story.
Well, no, you answered the question correctly.
To a degree. I didn't say really what was in it, right? But I was more just like, where did it come from and how it came to fruition? But yeah, thank you. That was the ultimate goal, is everyone is, even though they want to learn, it can still be scary. Learning anything new, like riding a bike, learning voiceover, it's terrifying when you don't know how to do it. And so that's what I'm like Dave said, I'm your buddy through the whole thing. And I make you laugh. If it, maybe my humor is in your sense of humor, ask for a refund then if you just can't stand me. But in general, I make it very fun, but very detailed and very empowering. That's the goal. Like, I want you to not be terrified to touch these knobs, nothing's going to explode.
Know what you're touching. And for me, I've worked with some students who were trying to get into promo or whatever it was. And when I am working with, I'm listening to these breathing. There's just so much compression and EQ, I remember one student, I said, listen, just turn it all off. You are relying on that to give you your sound as opposed to the human being that you are. The best way for EQ and compression is just enough that you don't know it's there.
Yep. That's my style. And that's what I teach.
Yeah.
But it's all in prevention. Like you said, get a good baseline, right? There's a joke in audio production and music production where it's like, fix it in post, right? You're like trying to mic a guitar or a vocal, and you're like, oh, it's so noisy, and whatever, we'll fix it in post. That's the lazy, shame on you way, right?
And expensive.
I'm just gonna
post costs a lot of money.
So every lesson in terms of noise, in terms of sibilance, in terms of resonant boothy junk sound. You know, when you're in a small space, it tends to sound very. There's a lot of that. I teach how to prevent it all, and if there's still some left over, now we can touch some plugins and processing. That's because I'm not just like, let's just go to the plugins and fix it. No. It's a lot of prevention.
I think you would agree with me that the most important thing is your space.
Yep.
And but you know, one of the things I love about doing Ask Dave Fennoy Anything are the conversations that happen in the comments. Terry Briscoe, how hard is it to change the settings for the L22 Sphere settings to match the other models? And it was answered by, I think you know this lady, and she says it's as easy as pointing and clicking.
Yeah, it is 2 or 3 clicks max, depending on if you use folders. But it's literally, I click on this one button, and then I click on commercial. Boom, a 416 is loaded with an Avalon and a de-esser with the EQ that I want. It's just EQ cuts. I'm just taking out a little bit of booth resonance, and then I'm like, oh, let's see. So I do that, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now what do I have? Oh, I have a character audition. Click, loaded. Now a U87's loaded in hypercardioid instead of cardioid, so it doesn't sound as boothy, and it's running through the Avalon. Right? It's all good. Like, it's done. It just loads just like that. It's a dream.
There you go.
And it sounds good. It actually sounds good. It's not gimmicky at all.
You know what? It is a great mic. I bought one. I played with it for a little while, and then I decided, you know what? I don't really need this. So I sold it at a great price.
Awesome.
Grace Newton again. Have you heard about the new Rode NT1 5th generation? If so, what's your take on it?
I saw that in the chat a few minutes ago, and I had to Google it. I'm like, what? No. I had to search for that mic, and then I clicked on news to filter the news, and it apparently came out a week ago. And last week, that was a chaotic week. So no, I completely missed this mic announcement.
And you couldn't go outside because you'd be washed away.
Pretty much. No, but even we're just dealing with changing our contractor with Mara's studio, and it's been quite dramatic, but it's all good now. Everything is lining up how it's supposed to. But yeah, so I didn't even know this mic existed until you put it in the chat. So I have no idea. I see that it's silver in color, which scares me because the NT1A is a trash mic. I'm sorry. It's the only mic I hate. I will bash on that mic any day. I love you, Rode. All your other products for the most part are phenomenal, but I hate that mic.
You know, it's interesting.
And it sounds like this.
People ask me often, oh, what's a good starter mic? I got $250 to blow. What should I get? And I say, well, among other things, the Rode NT1 is a great mic. You'll probably use it for years, and if something goes wrong with the newer, better mic that you buy, you can always go back to it. But don't buy the NT1A.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, all my minions, all my NT1A haters out there. I've got like a posse. It's a religion I've started.
And just off the top of your head, somebody that's just getting into the business, what would be the starter mics that you would recommend? I know probably that AT2020.
Yeah, I actually, if someone could put it in the chat, if you Google Jordan, or if you go to jordanaudio.ninja, there's a recommended gear page. Someone please put that in the chat if you can. I have it needs to be updated, but overall I have low budget, medium, high budget for every gear category: microphones, headphones, audio interfaces. So to answer your question, if you're really balling on a budget, I do love the AT2020. It's $100. The 2035, I believe, is like $30 more. So you're spending like $129, and I believe the noise floor is actually quieter on there. So that is worth it alone. If you're really, really balling on a budget, the MXL 990 is super quiet. It's a little bright, but it's a clean. It's just
it's a clean bright.
Yeah, it's a clean bright for how cheap. Yeah, not a cheap bright. There's a difference. You can just hear it just is more unpleasant to listen to, the cheaper brightness on mics. But if you can push up into that $200 territory, the Rode NT1, the one that's black in color. I don't know about this new 5th gen one that's silver in color, and that terrifies me. I really need to hear samples. But the NT1 black in color, I think it's $250, comes with a shock mount, comes with a pop filter. And it's the best thing about it is not only I think it has a quieter noise floor than a 103 potentially. Or it's the same, but it doesn't boost the high frequencies like the TLM 103 or the 416 do, which is very much a problem on a lot of cis female voices where they just tend to, there's just more articulation on the S's and it's brighter. And the 103 can sound absolutely terrible on a lot of female voices. The NT1 at, a tenth of the cost does not have that level of brightness that a lot of these popular expensive VO mics have. So there's my commercial for that mic.
Now let's keep going. So mid-range, what would you call the mid-range of microphone costs?
I would say, once you're getting like 300 or even 500, right? I really do love the CAD E100S. I think they have like a newer one that came out. I'm still not up on it. So I'm not sure if there's some new changes to it, but the CAD E100S is great because it's not cardioid. I believe it's super cardioid. So by default, instead of it picking up sound like in this range, it's a little more focused, which you want. You want it more on your voice and not getting it more of
picking
your
up the whole
boxy.
room.
Exactly. So I love that mic. It can be a little bright, but overall, it's just got a good, present, warm, not hyped or tubey sounding sound. I have Roswell Audio. I partnered with them years ago and designed a mic called the Ravo for voiceover. Long story short, I did not do a good job at marketing it. It wasn't their flagship product. So he eventually he's like, the demand isn't high. So I need parts to make other mics that are popular.
So I'm going to cannibalize the mics that we made for you.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. But it was like all amicable. It's all fine. Like we're on good terms. It's just like, it was his side gig. It's now his full-time gig. Matt McGlynn, who runs Roswell Audio, but he actually sent me the Mini K87, which is, and he even lowered the noise floor and everything. He wants me to test it out. I just haven't had time, but I might be recommending that mic. I think it's around $500 and it's really small. It's like a skinnier 103, which if you know how small 103 is, it's tiny. Yeah. And if it sounds anything like a U87 and it's really quiet and it's not too bright, I will be recommending that as a mid-range mic. And finally, a third mid-range mic I love is the Shure KSM 32. That's around, the price keeps going up. It used to be 500. I think it's 600.
KSM 32.
Yep. It's silver in color. The reason when I do recommend it, it is 100% of the time for people who have really bright sibilants, where the 416 sounds terrible on them, the 103 sounds terrible, or any other of the. There's so many mics that are really bright. The KSM 32 literally cuts where female brightness tends to build up, which is around like 9 to 10 kilohertz. The Shure is literally cutting it instead of boosting it like the other mics. So that mic, if you have complaints from engineers or clients like, this is really bright, whatever you're using, try the Shure KSM 32. There are people who are doing feature film work, ADR, animation video games that I've recommended to female talent here in LA. They use that in their home studio and their clients love it. So
fantastic. Got another comment here for you. Jordan, you should just release all your Sphere presets for people to buy for those mics. Call it the Audio Ninja Collection.
So we sell. I actually have presets in the mic. It's if you buy it, you load up the plugin. They put. I'm in a plugin, Mom. I'm literally in a plugin, which is crazy. You click on the presets and there's a Jordan Reynolds folder. So
let's see.
I have a few presets in there.
Got something else from Jeffy Burns. While on the subject of UAD plugins, what are your thoughts about UAD making all their stuff native? First of all, what the hell does native mean? Okay.
You know what it means, right, Dave?
I have an idea, but you're going to tell me.
All right. I guess I'm the guest. What all native means is, hey, I can, just like if you buy Isotope RX is a plugin that so many talent are familiar with. You download it off their website or you download the installer and it installs this software, the plugin on your computer, and it's running natively on your CPU. So like when you access and load the declicker, it's running on your Mac or your PC to render it.
It's not out in the cloud someplace.
Correct. Now, non-native plugins are not as popular anymore, but everything that UAD, the Apollo, made up until this past year or whatever was not native. You had to have a physical UAD audio interface. You couldn't download any other plugins and run them. They wouldn't work unless if you have a physical Apollo unit. That has changed, and that is what Jeff is alluding to. So they have these amazing plugins like the Avalon 737, the Manly Voxbox, their Precision de-esser. So the benefit of the Apollo is that you can actually run all of their plugins live before it gets into your DAW, before it gets into Source Connect. That is what you're paying for, because most people can't, like, if they have too much noise and they have a Source Connect session, you can't go run Isotope denoiser on it after and send, like, they're lifting it live. So that's what you pay for at the Apollo. That's the benefit of running the plugins live. If you love the sound of those plugins, you can now download them onto your computer without buying an Apollo and run them natively without having to buy any hardware. But you can't, it doesn't mean you can run them live on your audio still. You need, so I think it's cool. He says, what do I think about? I just think it's cool. Why not?
Yeah.
Make more money.
I think plugins have changed the business for a lot of us. A lot of us who, had racks of stuff that bye-bye racks. And I mean, I sold my Avalon and a couple other interfaces that I had, and some that I still have some in here I haven't sold, just don't use anymore. They're art pieces now.
I know. Mara bought a used 737 and with like upgraded tubes in it, and we actually swapped the tubes out because they were too loud. And I think it was like 6 months after she bought a physical Avalon. They're brand new, like
$2,500.
No, I think they're over 3,000 now. Yeah, yeah. You just got possessed with 38.66. Oh, hello, inflation. Oh my God. So that's what they cost now. She bought one not at that price, but she bought it used, at a higher price because it was in good condition. And 6 months later, UAD's like, hey, we have the Avalon plugin, $300.
Yeah,
and it sounds just as good, damn near, and it's actually quieter.
Yeah,
it has a quieter noise floor because it's digital. So, yeah.
Got a long question here. Question for Jordan from Theo Mezzacapo. My natural voice is very deep and bassy, and it is. Right now I'm using a Rode NT1A and NT1, which, while good, doesn't really complement my voice as well. I'm looking for an affordable, not a U87 or 416 mic, that would work better for my instrument. Which ones would you recommend? And he has a deep, gravelly voice.
Okay. I wonder if he's just wanting okay. It just depends. I'd have to hear it and hear how it sounds in your space. So again, like Dave said, if your space has a lot of bass buildup and you have a lot of bass buildup out of your throat, that's a bad combo. I will say the 416 hands down picks up it is way more bass present. It's like, hey, you got any bass anywhere? I'm going to make it sound even more bassy. So just be aware of that if you ever go to that, or just shotgun mics in general tend to be more bassy. If you want a U87 sound, I was hearing an AB at my friend Carson Beck's studio down the street, and they have it's called United Labs or something. United something.
I've seen that.
Twin 87. It's called the Twin, not Apollo. Different company. But I think it's called United Twin 87. And it has like a modern mode and a vintage mode. And it's $500, $600. And it sounds like a U87. I mean, I need to do more testing. I need to hear more samples. But in general, it's like 80% there from this A/B test I heard. So that's a great buy at that mid because the U87 actually scoops out a lot of the bass. Their vintage, the vintage mode on that mic would probably bring some bass. So you have these little toggle switches on it. So you could try that mic if you want that U87 sound, and see how much bass or not bass that you want in your voice. But in general, yeah, just beware of your voice. Add extra bass traps in your space. Because you are working, if you have so much bass coming out of your voice, it's going to sound probably too bassy in your space.
Yeah. All right.
Space.
Let's see. Storm Waters, the Audio Ninja course is the best. Yes, we have a testimonial, Storm. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Storm. She's waiting with bated breath Stoltz. For my...
I made the mistake of buying the NT1A. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was way too sibilant for my voice. Yeah, I I think they just made a really cheap microphone, and they knew that the NT1 was great, and we can sell this piece of caca, and
it was like great on like acoustic guitars, right? And there has been a handful of male voices that I've heard it on. I'm like, this actually sounds great, but most of the time it does not sound great, especially on female voices.
It's a big difference between the NT1 and the NT1A. Terry Briscoe, what about the Sennheiser MKE 600?
Oh God, is that a little shotgun mic? I need to.
It's their cheaper shotgun mic.
$329. I don't know. I've heard of it. I haven't heard samples, so I'm sorry. I wish I. You'd think I've heard every mic ever made and have it stored in my head. I have a lot, but I don't know. I have no idea how this
I know
sounds.
a number of people who use them. I think it's running around $300, something like that.
Yeah, it's $329 right now.
Yeah, $329. Okay. I wasn't a fan. If you're going to spend that kind of money, I think there's some better choices. Much as I love my 416, but they're just not the same.
Okay. No, I doubt it's the same. Yeah, and it comes with a battery and 100 hertz high pass filter. So the battery, you're paying for that feature. You're never going to use it because it's clearly designed for people to do like film set recording, which is what the 416 was designed for, and it just happened to be discovered to sound amazing on the human voice in voiceover work. But you're paying for that battery, and then there's the high pass filter. Might take out too much bass on a lot of voices. 100 hertz can start to take out too much bass. Yeah. If you use a high pass filter, make sure on your mic, look up the manual, make sure it's set to 75 hertz, 80 hertz. That's the safe zone.
Okay, Jeff Burns again. NT1 5th generation is probably the best starter mic anyone could buy because one could start on the USB side and eventually move over to the XLR without needing to buy another mic. So apparently, because I don't know about this new 5th generation like you don't, apparently it can switch from USB to XLR.
Cool.
Which is
very cool.
Interesting.
Looks like they sell it in both silver and black. That's not confusing.
And you have somebody that agrees with you, Terry Briscoe. I hate the NT1A.
I'm not a hater of many things in life.
I have the Mike Parts version of that mic, but I don't know which mic he's talking about. There's Mara, is Jordan wearing a Punisher shirt? Frank Castle guy.
No, I got the Hulk.
And once again, this is there you go. This is a conversation between people in the chat and asking your girlfriend what you're wearing, because clearly she dresses you.
She does, yeah. I don't know if she dressed me, she would not be putting comic book T-shirts on me.
A couple of comments here. Jeff Burns, I did my first 2 demos on a KSM 32. That's Shure, correct? And loved it. Bill Farmer recommends that mic.
Oh, great. I didn't know that. See, yeah. Goofy approves, y'all. The voice of Goofy thinks it's a great mic.
Goofy. I got to get Bill on here. Every time we line something up, he has something else he's got to do. But we're going to get him on here because he knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, he's got some stories.
Joe Cipriano, ladies and gentlemen. Just passing by
Joe's
to say
here.
Hi. Hey, Jordan, I love your amazing knowledge of mics. This is so important for all of us, and especially talent just coming into the business. Thank you, Dave Fennoy. Love you, too. Oh, thank you, Joe. Joe is one of my best friends in this business, and he is just the nicest person. And my wife and I like to hang out with he and his wife, Ann. And it's been too long, Joe. If you're still there, we got to hook up, do something together.
I love Joe.
Ed, how you doing? Great discussion. Ed Weagle there. And Janice Johnson Hunter, comment: for great vocal health, especially for gaming voice actors, do you see an ENT or speech pathologist every few years? This is in reference to your earlier comment about 4-hour-long sessions.
Yeah. I highly recommend seeing an ENT. Have I done it since COVID? No. I should. But when you when you have the privilege of being able to work a lot, you get really and in a lot of genres, and I also do sound alike work. I've become really familiar with my instrument. I'm not saying I know what the doctors know, and I don't, and I have a third eyeball looking down my throat, okay, which is what a scope will do to really see what's going on there. But you really get in tune with, ooh, that's hurting, or oh, I just did a long game session and I did a lot of screaming. One of the easiest tests without a doctor is where's your head voice at? So right now I can go, ah, so there's a little bit of a break there, but like, ah, okay. If I just did a long screamy session, this is what it would sound
Yeah,
like.
that's gone. That's gone. That kind of control is just gone.
It's gone. Totally gone.
Your chords just get flappy and sore. You really got to be careful. And if you go into a session and it says battle chatter, be afraid. Be very afraid. One of the things I like is we now have directors that are helping us take care of our voices. I'm going to suggest don't be the hero. The guy that says, "Oh no, I can do it. No, I'm okay. Yeah, let me go. I can do it. Yeah, well, just another 15 minutes." Sometimes if you're doing really vocally stressful stuff, take a break every 15, 20 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes will make a huge difference rather than going the full hour. Your voice can come back pretty quickly. Things in your mouth, for some reason, heal quicker than other parts of your body. But you got to give them a chance. Let's see.
Agreed.
Ellen Dubbin, this is fabulous, guys. Came in late. You're a fountain of knowledge.
Ellen,
thanks for doing this, Jordan. Love it, Dave. Hey, Ellen. I'm just getting the last few things here because we're actually overtime. It's 7:02.
Damn.
Wow, I thought they were only 3,500. And once again, Jeff, are we talking about the Avalon? Or yeah, I think we are.
Probably. And I'm good on time, Dave, just so you know. So.
Okay. Jordan Tartacow, thanks so much for all this. What do you think of the AT-4333? I have a tenor, young sounding voice.
That's a great mic. Audio-Technica really, I mean, their products overall, they make what is it, like I don't know what it is now with inflation, but it was always under $200. A very short shotgun mic called the AT875R. But that's a great mic because it has a built-in high pass filter, and it's a shotgun, so it's more focused, and it's quiet. It just sounds so good for a start. I forgot to mention that. It's a great starter mic under $200, especially if you're not going to be doing character work. In terms of that specific model, like everything in their mid-range mics, so the 4033, I think the 4050, then there's the 4040, and then the 4050, if that even exists. I think it's like $1,000. But everything in that like $300 to $800 Audio-Technica mic range, those are great mics for VO. I have two friends who do voiceover, and I think Jeffrey Kafer and now Heather Kafer, because they just got married. I know Jeffrey uses, I think, the 4033 or a 4040, which is like a mid-priced mic. And he kills it in audiobooks, right? And it sounds great on him. I believe that's what Heather uses too. But don't snooze on those. If you could have an opportunity to do a big shootout, the 4033 it's not too bright, especially on male voices. And you said you had a tenor voice, so I don't see any like risks or pitfalls for having a more bright voice. Like the 416 is a bit more risky. Like I'm not a tenor, I'm a baritone, but I have a lot of in my voice, a lot of sharp nasality. And if I put on like the 103 versus the 416, the 103 doesn't pick up as much on the as the 416 does.
Yeah. A mic that I think people are sleeping on, the SE2200A.
Yeah. The samples I've heard, I'm really impressed. Is that one like 400 or the 300?
It's about, well, I have one. I've had it for a long time. When I bought it, it was about $250. I think it might be up to $350, maybe $400.
Yeah, it looks like it's under $300.
Yeah, but I mention it because it's great. I'm going to scroll through really quick. Jim Frank, both our buddy. Oh, he's got some information here. You know what? We will let people pick that up on their own. Heath Martin, you guys are the best. I adore Jordan and his lovely wife too. Audio Ninja is a must-have program. I agree. I agree. You get the Dave Fennoy seal of approval.
Thanks, guys.
I think if you are somebody very interested in being able to understand your sound and how to get it and how to fix things that aren't working right, it is the best. And you make it fun to go through the sessions.
I will make you laugh.
Heath Martin, I had a heavy session a couple weeks ago, and my director was great about letting me take breaks if need be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're on our side.
What's that?
I say they are on our side.
They are. Yeah, most of them. Some of them are just, if they're not, they're just ignorant. I've only heard of a few. There's like one director who's literally dubbed like the throat ripper. Like they like enjoy. It's like, you know, when you hear those film directors who push a non-camera actor to the breaking point, like kind of the messed up stuff. There's a voice director. I don't think they work anymore, but like back in the day, they literally enjoyed hearing, like, because it sounded so authentic and upset, and they would push a voice actor to like, right. So other than that case, if they have pushed you, I've called a session, really big game, big AAA game. And the guy was an on-camera director, and he just didn't know what he was doing with voice actors. And they didn't prep enough. So I had to keep, and everything was a level 10, and I got 45 minutes in, and it was, you know, be like, watch out, grenade, watch out, grenade, watch out, grenade. It would just be like flipping a word, and I would have to do like an ABC level
of
10.
Each one of those. Oh my God.
And they're like, wait, is that what he's supposed to be saying? Oh, sorry, Jordan. And like pretty much I'd have to redo 3 or 4 times that one line because they didn't know what they actually wanted to write. Whew. Anyways, I had to call it, and I was scared to because I was newer. I had only been in LA about a year or two.
Yeah, but you know what?
Game, and I called it.
You want to have a long career.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to use your voice for all the various genres that you're going to work in. You don't want to be stuck with, my voice is here, so whenever they need this guy, they can get him. But
yeah, exactly. You know? Oh, you don't want to be that.
Listen, I got to let you go. I don't think we've gone this long over in a while. We've probably spent too much time complaining about power outages and floods in our studios.
I'm sorry. It's a fun story.
No, not your fault, mine. But Jordan, it's great to have you on. Looking forward to when I can have Mara on, and then the two of you at some point.
Absolutely.
And how can people get in touch with you?
I'm most active on Instagram, but if it's like you want, if it's important, email me. My DMs, I get flooded. I appreciate everyone, but it's just a lot of like, hey Jordan, what mic should I get for this? You know, and like I have like 50 unread probably because of that. I just can't get to everyone. I try to when I can. So if it's important and you want to like hire me or you have a question about the course, email. So jordan@jordanreynolds.com. And all my social media is jordanreynolds.com/links. Yeah. So I'm on Twitter, Facebook a little bit, and Instagram primarily.
If they want to take your course from the Audio Ninja,
AudioNinjaMasterclass.com. AudioNinjaMasterclass.com. And soon coming a UAD Apollo course.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. And thankfully, the internet makes it easy to find anybody. If we just look up Jordan Reynolds, all those things will pop up. But
luckily, there's another Jordan.
Yeah, I highly recommend your course.
Thank you, Dave.
And you as an asset in this business as somebody to call on when you need audio services.
Yeah, I don't want any talent not getting work because their audio wasn't good enough, right? Like that is preventable, and that's my mission, is to make sure that does not happen to anyone.
All right.
So,
well, excellent, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll be talking to you tomorrow. And,
I got your files.
Yeah, you're going to end up being somebody that comes back and back. Believe me, I won't mess with you for another 6 months or so.
Good, because you're driving me crazy, Dave. You're driving me crazy.
All right.
Mary, you want to wave bye? I don't know if she can hear me. If she's even still listening.
Oh, she's having...
There's a delay. She's listening. Yeah.
Oh, there she is. There she is.
Is she waving? All right.
Hey.
Bye.
All right.
This has been a true test of our marriage, sharing a studio since September.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had one fight over it. Yeah. We're good.
Oh.
It's a pain to manage sessions and but we're good.
All right.
So we're looking
Well, there
forward
you
to
go.
getting our studio done.
All right, my friend. Well, I will see you soon. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Want to thank
Awesome.
Jordan Reynolds for joining us on another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Apologies for anybody who, you didn't finish yet. It's 7:10. We went a little long. But a reminder, this and all the Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you are interested in coaching with me, davefennoy.com, click on the Study VO tab. And don't forget, if you would like to learn to be a great actor in video games, or maybe you're already doing some, but it's not clicking quite the way you want, come spend 3 days in Mexico, Acamal, Mexico, with Game VO Mexico 2023. And you can book yourself at gamevomexico.com. That said, all the best, everybody. See you next Wednesday. And in the meantime, book something.